Welcome back to Liberal Breakdown. So, Trump just hit pause on his big global tariff plan. Well, yes, sort of. While he's putting a 90-day hold on tariffs for most countries, he just jacked up tariffs on China to 125%. And what's his reason for the pause? Because people were getting yippy. Yeah, those are his words. Not thoughtful, not cautious, but yippy.
Can you walk us through what you were thinking about why you decided to put a 90-day pause?
Well, I thought that people were jumping a little bit out of line. They were getting yippy, you know? They were getting a little bit yippy, a little bit afraid, unlike these champions, because we have a big job to do. No other president would have done what I did. No other president. I know the presidents. They wouldn't have done it. Somebody had to do what we did, and I did a 90-day pause for the people that didn't retaliate, because I told them if you retaliate, we're going to double it. And that's what I did with China, because they did retaliate. So we'll see how it all works out. I think it's going to work out amazing. I think that our country is going to be at the end of a year or shorter, but I think we're going to have something that nobody would have dreamt possible.
Let's break down what just happened and why this whole thing is a mess. Here's what went down. On April 9th, Trump suddenly announced a 90-day pause on his proposed global tariffs. Markets were tanking, world leaders were speaking out, and even Republican senators were warning that his plan would be an economic disaster for American jobs. So instead of backing off completely, Trump selectively paused the tariffs, but doubled down on China. He increased their import tariff rate to 125%. It's like saying, okay, I won't punch everyone, but I'm gonna wreck China. Here's the thing. This isn't strategy. This is Trump doing what he always does, throwing a bomb into the room and watching what happens. And when the fallout hits, the markets drop, allies get pissed, he hits pause, calls everyone soft, and acts like he's the only one who's tough enough to handle the heat. And in the process, we all lose. The economy doesn't operate on vibes. When you mess with global trade, there are real consequences. Small businesses can't afford to import materials. Farmers can't sell overseas. Tech companies lose access to parts. And yeah, consumers like you and me end up paying more for everything. Let me ask you something. What kind of economic plan gets announced, paused, tweaked, and weaponized all in the same week? This isn't how you build trust, and it's definitely not how you manage the most powerful economy in the world. Also, let's talk about that 125% China tariff. That's not a tax on China, that's a tax on us. We're the ones paying higher prices. We're the ones whose jobs are threatened when our supply chains collapse. We're the ones who suffer when these tariffs turn into full-on trade wars. And now Trump's just bragging about the stock market rebound like it proves something? Dude, people are struggling to afford groceries and rent, and you're out here playing with percentages like it's a game. Even some Republicans are begging him to slow down. Senator Chuck Grassley, a longtime Trump ally, called the move dangerous. Others said it could cost hundreds of thousands of American jobs. So this isn't just partisan. This is about reality. We don't need drama, we need direction, and we sure as hell don't need a president who plays chicken with the world economy to score points in the news cycle. Because in the real world, this stuff matters.
What do the tariffs, the 90-day pause on some tariffs, and now the even higher rate being put on Chinese goods, what does it mean for you and your business?
So yesterday, before the 90-day pause, I was pretty much expecting just about all of our 70,000 SKUs to have probably price increases of some level. Even US made goods a lot of times have components that come from somewhere else. With the 90-day pause, it kind of kicks the can down the road. It doesn't solve that question. It just makes that timeline for Q3 and 4 that's really important to us. It's going to make that timeline shorter because we don't know what's going to happen in 90 days. As far as the China tariff being increased, we know that there's significant amount of SKUs. I'm going to estimate probably 30+% of those SKUs that we carry in some various categories that are really heavy in China specific SKUs that are going to just see massive increases, and we just aren't quite sure how we're going to handle all of this.
So here's a story that's not getting enough attention. Beth Benike, a small business owner from Minnesota, recently named Small Businessperson of the Year, is now facing financial devastation. Not because she made bad business choices, not because her product failed, but because Donald Trump's tariff war just made it impossible for her to afford importing the very goods she sells. This is what happens when reckless trade policies hit the real world. Beth runs Busy Baby, a company that makes clever silicone silicone placemats for babies, the kind of product that's helped her grow from a small startup into a brand now being carried by Walmart and Target. She did everything right. She built a product, she found a market, she got into major retailers, she earned national recognition, she even scaled production the smart way by working with manufacturers in China, like most small businesses do.
The news yesterday almost feels like the nail in the coffin for us.
Tell me why.
I have products in China right now produced, ready to ship. They were supposed to get on a boat yesterday and come to America. And I can't ship them because what would have cost me maybe $30,000 with a reasonable tariff now is going to cost me almost $200,000. And I have to have that money when the products get to customs, and I don't have that, nothing close to that. It's not even reasonable. So I have to leave my goods in China until I figure out some other direction. But what that means is when I run out of stock in 2 to 3 months, I no longer have products to sell and no more revenue coming in, which means I can't pay my bills, can't pay my employees, and everything I have, all of my debt. I have my house leveraged. We have 5 employees. My house is leveraged against our loans for our growth into Walmart and Target. I can't pay those bills.
And now she's stuck. Trump's latest tariff hike on Chinese goods, now sitting at a jaw-dropping 125%, has doubled her costs overnight. She has $160,000 worth of product sitting in China right now. She can't afford to bring it over, not with these tariffs, not without taking a massive financial loss. This isn't a corporation we're talking about. This is one woman, her team, her dream, and her customers. And now she's watching it all crumble. Not because of competition or quality, but because of politics. Beth Story is one of many. Across the country, small business owners are being pushed to the brink, just so Trump can play trade war games with China. And let's be honest, these tariffs don't hurt China the way he claims. They hurt us. They raise prices here, they destroy supply chains here, they crush entrepreneurs here, and they make it nearly impossible for small businesses to survive, let alone compete with the big guys who can absorb these costs. Beth literally said this tariff policy was the final nail in the coffin for her business. Imagine fighting so hard for years, finally making it into the big leagues, and then getting slammed because some politician wants to look tough on the international stage. As if Beth is whining, as if losing your life's work is just someone being dramatic. This is real pain, caused by real policy failure. This is the part they don't tell you during the campaign rallies. While Trump's out there bragging about tariff power plays, people like Beth are losing everything. And that's why we need to speak up, not just for ourselves, but for the small business owners who are too often forgotten in these fights. If we really care about American jobs and American innovation, we should be supporting people like Beth, not bankrupting them. If you believe we need real economic leadership, not just showboating, then like this video, drop a comment, and share Beth's story. See you at the next one.